Hello, hello, and welcome to the Copeland Coins live stream. Thanks for being here. Today, we are going to be talking about how to script your magic, all about scripting your magic. We're going to talk about the value of scripting, how you can do it, and stick around to the end because we're even going to do a live scripting demo. Very exciting. So let me bring everybody in here. How we doing, guys?
Ooh.
Good.
Good.
Doing great. Glad to be here with you guys.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Well,
today we want to talk about scripting, all about scripting. So let's kick it off. Jeff, can you explain to us why is scripting important? Why should we be thinking about the words we use?
Yeah, well, words are powerful. Words are weapons. Words build up. Words destroy. Words can make or break, right? And so we want to choose what we're going to say wisely. And if you're practiced or rehearsed beforehand, it will keep you out of trouble and it will help improve your magic because you're going to create clarity, and that makes the best magic.
Of course, that makes sense. That makes sense. Any additional thoughts on that?
I'm assuming that went to me.
Yes, sir.
I would just say, yeah, along with practice, like a practiced script or the words you're using, it will help you relax and get through that routine where you can focus attention and your eye contact on the audience. And you'll notice everything flows more smoothly together when you've practiced a script along with some actions. And at some point, hopefully, it becomes second nature and you're not thinking about the script at all. It just comes out, just like the routine and the slides. They'll just come out and you'll have a seamless performance.
Sure. And it just popped in my head. I'm curious, do you guys ever have scripts that kind of change?
That kind of change like over time? Yeah, absolutely. I would say that. So I'll be honest, I'm not like the world's best like on script guy. Like I've seen guys that can recite word for word, and I've seen guys that do that. World champion magicians and performance and FISM winners. You know, you think about some really talented guys. You think of like some Sean Farquhar or Paul Gertner. Some of these kind of guys, when you see them perform like their competition acts or their routines and stuff like that, Paul Gertner for some reason really comes to mind, and he can be spot on script time and time again. And there's some real just some clarity with that. There's an amazing ability to like set up like perfect magic with that. My scripting is not so much the case. Like I usually want to have a basic framework. I want to have those key words, those key ideas, those certain phrases and things that need to come out while I'm performing to make sure that the magic is clear, that the audience is getting the general gist of it. But it usually takes me years to really like hone down a script. But to the point now, if you see my stage show when I'm performing parlor, that it's pretty tight. Everything is going to come and play. And then there just has to be some practice to get off script. And we can talk about that or not, but that's a big part of it as well.
Sure. And one of the things that we spoke about in the email to everybody, if you're not on our email list, get on there because we have some good valuable things that we try to share. And one of the things we said was, what is the most powerful thing you can say in our performance? So I'd like to hear what you guys' thoughts are on that. Maybe Rick, you want to go for it first? Any thoughts on what the most powerful thing is you can say? No wrong answers.
I mean, David Blaine's a good example of this, but just the word watch and like that eye contact. And he's a good example of where you can take a script also with saying as little as possible. And just, I think any magic routine can fit into about 3 categories in terms of the script. So you've got an explanation, and you got a game or maybe a bet,
Hmm.
and then you have a story. So I think you take any routine, any famous routine, you could kind of fit into one of those three, but maybe there's a fourth, and that would be silence.
Hmm.
And a lot of coin magic lends itself well to silent performing, I think. But I mean, take the first one, an explanation. So this could be a fake scientific reasoning for what's happening in the routine. Maybe you're bending metal, or you're doing a spellbound routine and the coin changes from silver to copper. Maybe you have a fake explanation for why that's going on. But back to the question about what word is the most powerful, I would say maybe just watch.
That's pretty good. I want you to expound on those 4 details more, Rick, because that was really fascinating to try to pick it together.
Great.
You said experience, explanation, story, silence, but what was the second one?
A game or a
game.
bet.
Yeah, betcha, like a bar betcha or something like that. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. That's kind of neat to see.
And
you kind of pick things into that.
You could take a routine and take a certain approach, like a bar bet approach, but then take the same routine and come at it with a different approach. Like, what if I presented this as a fake explanation for, how physics works or something? And then you have this whole different feeling routine. So that's something I've played with in the past. Just like, how can I take the same thing and present it a couple different ways? And which way do I like the best?
Sure. No, that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. Now, Jeff, what would you say is the most powerful thing?
First, I'm going to throw this question right back at you, so you better be ready. I'm
ready.
Man, there's so many things. I think one of the things, I'm going to steal this, is the spectator's name. If you can say the spectator's name back to them. If you can say, "Hi, I'm Jeff, the magician. I'm going to do this magic performance," whatever your introduction is, that's as generic as possible. What is your name? Okay, Joe. Okay, Sally. Watch. Let's do that from Rick. But if you can engage somebody, like, because a name is such a powerful thing, it's personal, it's an ownership kind of thing. You will see, if you go out long enough as a magician, there are spectators that will refuse to give you their name because they don't trust you. And why is that? Because the magician is a sneaky character, and we don't trust that magician with anything. He's going to steal our wallet. He's going to take our watch. He's going to make us look bad. He's going to fool us, and we don't like these experiences, right? There's spectators out like that. So they will not give you their name because they don't trust you. And so if you can build that rapport and trust with people, and then take their actual parent God-given name and address them that way, I think is a very powerful way to get people interested.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah. So moving on, unless somebody wanted to challenge me with that question.
I did. I already did. You got to answer.
Okay. My answer to that question is, with all the scripting that I've done, the most powerful thing you can say is going to sound like a cop-out, but depends on the routine. It's all about figuring out, and it has to do with what Jeff said, the rapport that you can create with the audience and how that specific trick is going to leave an impact on this person. And that might be one word, like watch, like Rick was mentioning. That might be a final line in a trick that just explodes the premise to, like, holy moly, that's a big idea. Kind of like Eugene Berger would talk about. He would say, you want your script to be so intriguing and interesting, even if it's not long, so intriguing and interesting that someone could not even watch the magic and still be interested in what's happening, right? Just by hearing what's going on. So I think it depends on the scenario. And we're going to get into that in a little bit when we do our actual scripting demo here. So let me cut real quick to our newest segment and do a little piece of magic for you guys. We got a little magic from Instagram here we're all going to enjoy. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, and 3.
Joseph Thomas.
Okay. It's clever. Oh my goodness. I like where this is going.
I know.
What? Oh my goodness.
Thought that was so good.
That is so good. So clean.
Right?
Wow.
So we can see it one more time here.
Okay, so he just gives us the one face. I was like, oh, I want more. I want more.
It's like a teaser.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah, I gotta watch this again. Oh, so it's just you see everything. I love it. Love it.
Yeah, if you guys watching have not heard of Joseph Thomas, like he's got a lot of just really good direct coin stuff.
Yeah. That is so good.
Yep. And so that's Joseph Thomas. You can follow him here if you want to check out Joseph Thomas Magic. Thank you, Joseph, for letting us
He's
share
in
that today.
Wow.
It said Copenhagen Starbucks.
Did it
Oh,
really?
yeah, that's a
Yeah.
ways away.
Wow, that's
Oh,
clever. There's so
one
many
thing
good
I wanna
things done
point
in
out.
that, by the way.
One thing I do want to point out, there is something I recognize right about here.
What?
That's interesting. And if you haven't seen our newest shameless plug, newest release of the Gold Edition Traveler, go to the website. Jess got one right there. You want to check this out. They're literally, I'm watching the stock dwindle. There's limited stock. He's not going to order these again, right? So
I not planning on unless the people just say, hey, we love it. You know, we could look into it. But it looks pretty amazing. It's you can go and watch the video and learn all about it, about what happened and how we got this.
So go check that out. But
yeah,
anyways,
that was awesome. I was waiting
great,
for that
right?
video of Joseph for it to travel. I was waiting for. I was like, so that's my first time watching that. If you know, like me, first time watching it, I'm the silence amazement. Like I'm just wow. That's I was waiting for all those coins to end up in the wallet with that. But so many things done right in that. You notice like the camera was about perfect. I mean, it shows Joseph has friends. He has a friend who's willing to film for him, and how like more personal and inviting that magic was to watch, and how he just you felt like drawn into the story and wanted to see what happening. Like that was beautiful.
So good. So good.
I also like how, and it worked on you, Jeff. He kept it short enough, but also visual and intriguing enough. You want to watch it again.
Yes.
And you're like, I wanted another phase.
Uh-huh.
So that's a good tactic, especially with something you post on Instagram.
Yeah.
If you want to draw people in, it's got to be, it can't be too long, but it also can't be so short that.
Well, that made me want to watch his next video. That made me just, okay, I got to see what else does this guy have. I mean, I hope that goes viral for him and just has thousands and thousands of views or whatever you can get on Instagram with a video like that. I just hope the best for him. That was phenomenal.
For sure, for sure.
Thank you, Joseph. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah,
thanks.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so before we move on to the next little moment here, I want to point out a couple of people were talking about their most powerful word. Shiloh says the most powerful word not to say is oops. Good point, Shiloh. Thanks for that. And then Matthew said his Gold Edition Traveler is in the mail. So that's exciting. So we'll move on to our next little thing. Quick tips on how to approach writing a script. So I'd like to hear from everybody here. What are some quick tips? Rick, you want to go first? I know you have a lot to share today. This is awesome.
Yeah, sure. So when most people hear the word script, they think of the words we're using and stuff. But if you look at a real script, and you could find these online for different TV shows or even a play, a school play, if you were ever in a school play, the script involves not only the dialogue, but also stage direction and action. So one of the major benefits I find from writing a script is not necessarily the words I'm using. Like Jeff mentioned before, I 9 times out of 10 am using the words as a framework, and it changes from one time to the next when I'm performing that. But what's more important is in that script, first thing, write it down. Just write it down.
Yeah.
And then within that, write, after this line, okay, the right hand swings over and does this thing, or whatever. Like, write the choreography within the words. So what this allows you to do is, say you went out to perform somewhere and it went badly or it went great. You then have something to go back home to and analyze. So maybe right here in this part, I should change this. I should say this after I do this. It allows you something to really tweak and refine, as opposed to having it all in your head. And, that makes it a lot more difficult. But a few resources for people is this old book, Scripting Magic by Pete McCabe. And he recently wrote a volume 2. And it comes with like all these worksheets and stuff to do online. And it walks you through, you could go at your own pace with this stuff, but it walks you through these finer details of, defining what is your premise, what is the plot, what is what you're saying, engaging the audience and helping the effect. And then to go even beyond that, the actual script, I also recommend Designing Miracles and Strong Magic by Darwin Ortiz. This is less about scripting and more about the structure of your effect, because they go hand in hand. If the structure would change from a routine that you're doing, probably the script has to change to reflect that. At the very least, it has to coincide with the pacing of what you're doing. So Darwin's books will really help you analyze, am I doing the routine in the clearest way or the most deceptive way? And then on top of that, you put script. It's like icing on the cake to elevate that effect to the best it could be. So those are a few resources. I hope you guys, I don't know if these are in print and stuff, but I think they are.
I think they all are.
Magic is definitely one.
You can get Designing Miracles in an audio book too, I know.
You can. I know I've listened to that one. And,
very helpful.
Listened to that while mowing the lawn years ago.
But you must have a tall lawn right now, Jeff. It's been years since you mowed it.
It's a long mow.
But my question for you, Rick, follow-up question there. That's interesting. You were talking about writing it down. Do you have any tips on how you write your script? Because one time I saw that it was a good idea. So I got from someone, I think it was maybe, I don't remember who, maybe Pop Hayden or somebody, and it was writing it down on index cards, writing just phrases. And that way you can use them like flashcards and try to remember what's next. Oh yeah, that way you can remember. Is there something you do like that to remember your script?
Well, literally in volume 1 of Scripting Magic, he shows you like the bare bones, because Pete McCabe worked in television also. So
yeah,
like he knows what he's talking about.
He's the right guy for this book. I mean,
yeah.
I had the privilege one time sitting down with him and David Riegel, who both did TV, just a convention over lunch, and just listen to them talk. I mean, he's the right guy, and so I can't recommend this book high enough. And I personally don't have the second one, but I would take Rick's recommendation. We don't market these books, we don't sell them, but there's really good material there.
So for Caleb, I would say, start with that, because he provides for you just the bare bones framework, and then you can adapt it to how you like. I basically still do what he shows in there, but like I said, less. Maybe now I do less of the actual dialogue, because I can think of like two 2 or 3 routines I do where I've literally memorized my words, and one of them is it's a hanging coins routine that I wrote a poem, and that's something I never tried with a routine, but I have to have that memorized if I want to perform that.
And that kind of goes back to what I was.
Go ahead.
Sure. No, that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Is sometimes when you have a script like that, and you're not improvising, you get the opportunity to pick the perfect word and phrase that's the most powerful thing to punctuate a moment, right? Like in this moment where I produce the hanging coin, maybe there's something that I say that really emphasizes and reminds people, like out of thin air or out of nothingness, that can help remind them, oh yeah, his hands were empty. Where did that come from? Just because it's part of the poem. So that's a good point there, Rick.
I think another thing, just being aware of your audience and what's going on in the performance. So Amazing Spaghetti here. Some of my best lines came from listening to my audience. And part of the scripting process for me is after the show, remembering what happened and the things that came out during the show. So most of us with the energy of performance, or many of us may recognize that you can elevate your character, your personalities, and sometimes on stage, things will come out that I hadn't scripted that fit in the moment, and sometimes those become the best lines. Like, for example, in my routine, I have a time where the coin vanishes, and then I have to reproduce it. So I reproduce the coin, except for it's out of thin air. So I produced that coin, came from out of thin air. And it's a minting routine. And so I made that coin came from nothing, just like our government makes money from nothing. And so, or I have another one where it's like that came from thin air. It came out of nothing, just like Kim Kardashian's career. So like these little lines, lines that I pick up from the audience, and in the right time, and the right scripting.
Oh, those are audience suggested lines?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So because I made the money out of nothing. So, you did that just like the United States government does. They print money from nothing. Yeah. And so then it comes scripted.
That's a good tip, guys. So listening to your audience can get the best script, because they'll tell you what they're thinking.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, like when I lived in mid-Missouri, I didn't have much work as a magician. So I was looking for stage work everywhere. And I would jump on the open mics. We're at a college town at the university. And every night of the week, each bar, pub, local restaurant, whatever, there was always student center. There was an open mic somewhere to go and perform. And it was all comedians. I was the only magician. But I learned to script write and to listen to my audience based off hanging out with these guys, because their jokes had to hit perfect. People would say, the magician, he can... a lot of comedians don't like magicians because they use the magic for their crutch. They don't have to be creative. Maybe they can buy somebody else's effect and then just deliver it. But the comedian has to always be original and be on mark with the script. And so hanging out with these guys, they taught me a lot about how to listen to your audience, because they live or die based on the audience reaction by the words they say. And so, you listen to them. Have your phone right after the show while you're still buzzing, while you're still on fire, while the energy's still flowing, and you take notes. The best thing, if you have the time, record your show so you capture everything. You can review the magic. You can review your script. You can listen back to what people said. Sometimes you pick up on things you may not even heard on stage. But yeah, just try to record and script in the moment after the show while it's still fresh, or try to find ways to make it fresh the next day to remember things.
That's a good point. And along that line, I want to just reiterate what Rick had said. Matthew points out, this is gold. I've done this for other activities, but I need to start in my magic writing a script with stage directions. And that's what Rick was talking about. So just as much as the words are fresh in your mind right after a performance, and you could tweak those, what worked, what didn't, what ideas do I have? You could also tweak, I need to move this to the side, or I need to pull this out of this pocket instead, stage direction type things. You still can have stage directions for your close-up magic. So just something I wanted to reiterate.
You sure can. So.
Okay. Well, there's, I don't think, Jeff, you had mentioned some things after Rick. Is there anything you want to say specifically about how you approach writing a script?
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't mind, I didn't want to go back full circle, but I would hate if we went through this entire podcast and I didn't mention Scott Robinson, who we all know. And one of the first questions he always asks when he sees an effect is not. Scott is really good about giving feedback, and he pulls no punches. That's how we met. He approached me after a competition and gave me feedback on my show and said, "Here's where you suck." And that's how our friendship began. So, if you don't know Scott Robinson, he meets many people that way, and it's so loving and endearing. Let me tell you. He has a book called Pure Imagination with Vanishing Ink. He has several downloads with Van Ink and some other things out there. And Scott is a dear friend, and I love him. But he will give feedback. One of his first things he'll always ask when he sees an effect is, "What's your premise?" And that needs to be asked in everything you're doing as you're writing the script. So what is your premise? What do you hope to accomplish? Where are you going with this? And so some people start with an effect and they say, "I need to have a script to make this magic work," which is why sometimes coin magic is so visual and becomes silent and is so good to music or whatever on Instagram, because we can do these manual dexterity things. That's manipulation, maybe more so than magic. And we can do these crazy manipulations, spellbound, and constantly change the coins. And it's kind of a juggling thing, which is cool and absolutely amazing. I do that stuff myself. But it doesn't have the scripting so much to it. It's just the fact. So you need to ask the question, what is the premise? If I can do these amazing things, why do I need to show this to other people? And that's where, unfortunately, card flourishing has struggled, because in my opinion, card flourishing never quite developed a reason for doing it. And so what is the premise? Why do people want to watch me do all this crazy packet work? It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's astonishing. But as far as getting paid to do it, it's really struggled as an art form, right? And I think we can all honestly say that. But then other people start off with a script, with an idea, and they have an experiment or an explanation, maybe like Rick mentioned earlier, and then they say, "I want to show this psychology or this quote from this physicist, and I want to then create an effect that magnifies this thing I've learned." So you need to ask, what's your premise? And when you can clearly identify that, the magic, the method, all that stuff is going to work out with practice and time. That kind of stuff is going to come together. Will it be the greatest effect in the world? I don't know. But knowing your premise, what you hope to accomplish, will sure bring some clarity and make your magic better.
So help me to understand, just real quick, clarify. The premise is, for everybody listening, is what you said. It was what you're trying to accomplish, or what?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rick.
I was going to comment on that because I'm glad you said that, Jeff, because I think people confuse plot and premise. So think of the premise as your who, what, when, where. And the plot is the how and the why.
Very good.
So
in
many cases, your script will provide your plot. Like a lot of people refer to different routines as, what's the plot? What's your favorite card plot? That's not exactly the correct way to say it, because an effect is more of a premise. What's happening? Like, what is the effect? The plot is, maybe it's a story. It's the how and the why this is happening. So that's a good way to distinguish.
So can you give us a quick example?
Yeah, Rick, break that down. This is why Rick is on the team, ladies and gentlemen.
Give us a quick example of a very common coin trick that everybody here will know.
Well, something popped in my head. The cannibal cards.
Okay.
The premise is, okay, cards are disappearing in between the four kings. But the plot is like, oh, these missionaries and these cannibals, meet and they eat the missionaries. And if you guys have studied that trick, it's in Card College and other places. But that's a good example of where the plot takes on this whole story, and the spectator can visualize, these tribal people on an island maybe, and they're eating like the missionaries. But the premise there is like, all right, you have I forget if it's 7 or 8 cards. Oh,
like
and then
four aces, or 4 kings and 3 aces or something.
Yeah. And then 4 cards just disappear into the other cards. So that's the premise.
Mhm.
Or like take coins across. What's the premise? Coins travel from this hand to this hand. But the plot could be many things. Like, why is this happening? Well, it's because when I squeeze this hand, it creates an electrical charge and it shoots this coin. The plot is your script. So your script can become, your imagination is the limit. And I have some tips on, coming up with a script.
Yeah,
if we have time for that, but
I think you wrote a blog as well. Is that correct? I don't know if I can. On our website on Copeland Coins, we'd have
dig
to
that up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think there was a 2-part series maybe even that Rick came in years ago and wrote.
I forgot I did that.
Yeah, we'll have to put a link on that in the comments.
Well, we're gonna actually see this in real time because our last little part here is to do a live scripting demo, and just kind of test that out, see where we get with it. So what I need you guys to do in the comments right now, hurry, is type in. Let's see. First, we're gonna ask about name like a trick, like any trick that we would know that's pretty common that everybody would know. Maybe a classic, maybe something new. Just name an effect, and then some other people maybe name maybe somewhere you would do it, or like some possible random topics that are interesting. See about Christopher was talking about his life in the service and foreign lands is what influenced his gambling routine. We have some different people here talking about Cannibal Kings, and to quote Magic Store descriptions. Oh, okay, so the Cannibal Kings is 1 by 1, 3 odd cards are eaten by the kings during a fair display, leaving only the 4 Cannibal Kings. So that'd be the premise. It's kind of a combination of premise and plot, right? They're kind of describing it there.
Oh, he summed it up perfectly. What the effect is?
Yeah. So okay, so we got a few here. You guys can see the comments. Jeff, pick one of these effects, and we'll do it.
Oh gosh, should we go with cards? Because there's some good. There's all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's spellbound, cards across, spellbound. There's 2 for spellbound.
Let's say spellbound.
Yeah. Oh, it's the same. Is it James both times?
That's all right. Let's do spellbound.
That
fits with the coins. Okay, so Rick, we're doing spellbound as the effect.
Look for
my favorite coin.
Love spellbound.
Perfect. Somebody throw out a topic, like any topic in the world that's like interesting that could potentially be a plot, right? Anything interesting. It could be any. I mean, it could be time travel. It could be foreign traveling. It could be your daily life. It could be anything. And while we're doing that, this is how you generate ideas. Oh, the first. Go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
The first one I see is taxes. I think that's an interesting.
That's
idea.
A winner.
Tax. Cubs win the World Series. That's another idea. Healthcare. Shiloh, you got some sad plots.
Yeah, that's good. Healthcare, Cubs, falling in love. Oh wow, taxes. Man, there's so many good stuff. Rick, you get to choose. I chose the plot. You chose the premise. You chose the plot. So. I said that right.
Space travel.
Spellbound space travel. I love it.
I like that. Space travel.
Space travel. Ooh.
It's relevant too. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spellbound. Starbound.
Okay, so
oh my goodness.
Starbound. Okay, that's interesting.
Okay. Man.
So what do we think? Maybe let's just throw out a couple ideas, first things that start to come to mind, and this is how you kind of formulate, how you can form connections, right?
So we're assuming that we already know how to do the spellbound, that we have but we need the reasoning for why we're doing these changes, right? That's what I'm gathering.
So maybe that's an intergalactic type coin because
Yeah.
most people haven't seen that.
Mm-hmm.
You could say right now, somewhere far away, or no, you begin with this one. You could describe this coin. You're never going to believe this. This is from the Andromeda Galaxy. Now, someone way over there, or maybe it's a parallel universe. So actually, I and all of us exist simultaneously in a parallel timeline to this. I'm actually over there holding a silver coin. Now, I've learned through practice I can exchange coins with myself just for the practice of magic, for your entertainment. So I'm gonna hand off to myself over here, and then I have the silver coin, and Bizarro Rick over there has the copper coin.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, do that again. Let's do
change
it.
back. Jeff's over here.
Yeah, I'm over there. Oh, okay. So which one am I at? Oh, I gotta go.
No,
I gotta go lefty.
other way.
I gotta go lefty. So
Oh, this is so
Now I
good.
have
you
the
got
silver
it. How's that
coin.
one-handed demands change going for you?
But you see,
I didn't think
okay.
we didn't choreograph that. We should have been more for.
Obviously, we haven't practiced this at all. Yeah. This is going to be on the next download. No, just kidding.
You could quickly do that though. I mean, you got the plot, you got the idea, the premise. Okay, we know what we're doing. We're knowing that we're doing Spellbound, and then if I'm traveling to the moon, I'm going to need moon currency, so I got to do some foreign exchange, do some currency exchange, and then whatever based on where I'm going, I could go do that. Based on what if your location, you might need to have a premise like this. What if you're hired to do a children's birthday party or a Comic-Con event or something like that, and it's space themed? So you could say, well, we could use the moon money here. We got the American money, but we need the moon money. And have you seen one of these? This one's based on the atmospheric rings of Saturn. This is a real sample, and it came from the asteroid belt just outside the Kuiper rings, where there's nebulae and other words that I'm just making up at this point. But yeah, I mean, you could justify those kind of changes based off of, look at this, it actually came from Saturn, but you got the Pluto dollar or whatever, so those kind of things.
But I want to point out real quick, by simply changing the plot, Rick came up with like almost a different handling of the effect, which is you're talking about somebody over there, and so he stretched his hand across. Normally you do Spellbound like here, right? And everybody's watching. Now he's incorporating the environment to do different things. So as you play with these things, you'll come up with awesome ideas to change stuff.
That's true. Wow.
I just thought of a cool idea, and this isn't mine. I'm stealing it from Andy, the Jerks. But he does this is a while back. He described a triumph routine where he freezes time. And like the revelation is proof that he did freeze time. Something like that. So this is a free gift to all of you, this idea. You could have a coin wallet with a copper silver coin in it, okay? And then on display for the audience, you're showing one or the other coin. So you're hiding another coin. And you're saying, I can freeze time. I know you don't believe me, but this is proof, okay? Here, I've got a silver coin here. And in the coin wallet, I've got a copper coin. You show the copper coin. Really, this is copper silver. So you do a coin change, boom. And then you open the coin purse, showing the opposite side. So like I froze time just then, and I took this one out of the coin purse and I put the silver one in the coin purse. Look. And then you could show, here, I'll do it again. I'm going to freeze time really quick right now. See, I took the silver one out and I put the copper one in, and then you could show the copper one in there.
Yeah,
so
no,
you could make it time freeze plot instead of time travel or space travel.
Sure, sure. And obviously it's a little difficult to come up with like the perfect words to say
gosh.
right now on the spot.
Yeah.
But I think it shows you kind of just relating to this plot of the time space travel and everything with the premise of things changing. It creates some new possibilities. And somebody mentioned, I think it was Shiloh, the gravity of the situation. And I was thinking, it's a little cheesy, but that's not a bad line maybe for like at the end. I don't think you guys understand the gravity of the situation. It's like a little
Yeah.
pun, that would get a laugh,
Yeah.
but that's just to show you these words come.
Another
right?
thing this might show is that it's not a super easy exercise to just pair things together like so quickly. I mean, that's why scripting and ideas and routines and stuff that we release takes years because sometimes you get lucky, you hit the nail on the head like instantly, but usually it's a process.
Definitely a process, but I want to point out, I hope that this was a fun little exercise for everybody, and I want to point out that you can do this. Like this, the thing I really wanted to communicate here was you don't have to do the same types of presentations that everybody does, or the same presentations you might have seen on the trailer for the effect when you buy a new effect, right? Just think, how could I come up with something cool? How could I relate it to me? Or what topics could I do? Try this exercise out, come up with crazy things, and be as different as you possibly can, because you can do it. Just like we just threw this thing together here. Obviously, it's not perfect yet, but it's a start of something. And hopefully it shows you that this kind of thing is definitely possible. So, yeah. Anything else anybody wants to say? A little final thoughts here, and we'll call it a day.
It's good work, guys. Good work, team. Thank you guys for being here today. Thank you for all the viewers and being a part of this and the feedback and good comments. And I think you can see just how you can take just a couple ideas and throw them together and then, keep working on it. I know I'm going to be daydreaming about this all day long. What could I really do with this? Like, how could I take it to the next level and then time things and put it all together? And maybe there's a real effect here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, one more question before we go. Do you remember where the scripting blog is?
If you go to copelandcoins.com,
I might be able to pull it up.
Yeah. And click on the resource tab at the top. There's just a few tabs there. There's our free giveaway. I think it's still going on up there with the free magic. It's still live. It's in the resource tab or right up there. And then, Caleb, you pulling it up?
Yeah, here we go. Okay, so this is the website. That's where you get the free routine.
There's our pop-up.
If you go to the resource tab right here, there's the blog. And then, you remember what it looks like?
It's back there a ways. But there's all kinds of good stuff
Might be on
in
the
here.
next page.
But
it might be on the second page here. Super storylines.
Do you even script, bro? That top right. Do you even script, bro? That's a
there
Rick
it
Holcomb
is.
one.
Yep. Guest post by Rick.
Yeah.
Holcomb. Okay, so
some good thoughts there. From
so you have
Rick
all
from
this
a couple years ago.
information.
Yeah. There's a lot of good resources on the blog.
Perfect.
And now we've been doing the live stream, in particular that Caleb's been on board and leading this. We've got a lot of resources here on the live streams, kind of replaced the blog. But you can see some cool articles in there for sure.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to post that link in the chat for everybody, so you can check that out there. But anyways, thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you next week at 12 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Go make beautiful magic. All right.